In the early 1800s, nestled deep within the misty woods of Adams, Tennessee, a quiet farming family lived a peaceful life. Until the wind began to whisper secrets no one dared to hear. John Bell was a respected man, stern but fair. He tended the land with his sons, while his wife Lucy watched over their home, and their youngest daughter Betsy grew into a gentle girl with ribbons in her hair and dreams in her eyes. Their home was modest, built with care. A whitewashed cabin framed by dogwood trees, its porch creaking under bare feet. Life was simple, until something unseen crossed their threshold. It began subtly, scratching behind the walls like rats clawing at wood. But there were no rats. Then came knocking, sharp and sudden, on doors that no one stood behind. And then, at night, the whispers, soft, slithering, cruel. No one could understand the words, but the tone chilled them to the bone. It was like the forest itself had begun to speak. Betsy would wake up screaming. Sometimes she said her hair was pulled. Sometimes she said a cold hand touched her cheek. And once, she said a voice whispered her name and laughed. As weeks turned into months, the presence in the Bell household grew bolder. It no longer hid in the shadows. It spoke, clearly, sometimes old, like a weathered woman. Other times, shrill and mocking. It sang hymns in perfect pitch, then cursed in tongues no one recognized. The spirit began calling herself Kate, and she hated one person above all, John Bell. She screamed his name in the middle of the night. She slapped him when he prayed. She spat insults, calling him a deceiver, a hypocrite, and swore she would one day kill him. No one knew why. Meanwhile, young Betsy Bell suffered the most. The spirit pulled her hair so hard it bled, left scratches down her arms and legs. When she tried to sleep, her bed shook violently. And worst of all, Kate whispered in her ear that she should never marry the boy she loved. Betsy grew pale. She stopped eating. She stopped smiling. And still, the Bell family stayed, afraid to leave, afraid of what might follow. Word spread like wildfire through Tennessee. Priests, skeptics, neighbors, strangers, all came to the Bell farm to hear the ghost speak. And speak it did. It quoted the Bible, verse by verse. It knew people's secrets, their sins, their shame. One man fainted when it revealed a crime he thought no one knew. Even General Andrew Jackson, the future president, came to see the Bell witch. But before his horses could cross the Bell property, their wagon stopped. The wheels froze in place. The horses bucked and screamed. And a voice said from the darkness, "You may enter, but you will never forget me." Jackson turned his men around that same night. By 1820, John Bell had wasted away. The spirit tormented him relentlessly, day and night. His muscles weakened. His eyes sunk. He couldn't eat, couldn't rest. Then, one December morning, he was found dead. Beside his bed was a vial of black liquid, and from the darkness Kate's voice cackled. "I gave him the poison. He will trouble me no more." They buried him under a cold winter sky. At the funeral, mourners claimed they heard the spirit laughing from the trees. After John Bell's death, the spirit's rage slowly quieted. She no longer screamed, no longer struck. She simply whispered, "I am finished. But finished with what? To this day, no one truly knows why the Bell Witch hated John Bell so deeply. But the townspeople whispered their own truths, each one darker than the last. Some claimed she was the spirit of Kate Batts, a strange and stubborn neighbor who believed John had cheated her in a land deal. They said she swore on her deathbed that she'd have revenge. But history tells us Kate Batts didn't die until years later. So who was the spirit? Others believed the ghost was not a person, but a conscience. That John Bell had done something terrible, a crime buried in silence, and that the spirit was punishment itself. Some even whispered that he had hurt someone in his own family, and the ghost was the voice of justice no one dared to speak. And then there were those who simply said, she hated him. That's all we know, because the Bell Witch never explained herself. She told her stories, played her tricks, and vanished, leaving behind fear and questions. Years later, she returned, just as she promised, staying only long enough to remind them she was still near. Now, the Bell family home is gone, but the Bell Witch Cave remains. Locals say if you stand at the mouth of the cave at night, you can still hear her whispering. Some ghosts linger because they were wronged. Some because they did the wrong. But the worst ghosts of all are the ones who haunt us and never say why.